Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. The garden is looking beautiful. The colors are looking bright. But it's much too hard to be out here in the heat trying to enjoy it because it's really just not going to happen. As much as we dream that it could be that way, started doing my watering late in the evening, except for going in and out for the soaker hoses. I could not water all of this hand watering starting late in the evening. I would be out here till way after midnight. But I've been watering the soaker hoses as much as they will do, and then coming out. That wind is blowing my gate, if you heard that. And I've been coming out later in the evening, and by the time I get through watering, I could almost enjoy the weather, except it's too dark. Okay, for the joke of the day, if a lady's garden looks like this, just imagine how immaculate her house must be. And of course, this lady's house has stuff stacked on the footstool and the table since February when I started cleaning out the garden. And even when wonderful things are happening in the garden, like these little zinnia seeds are coming up, but other things, this pot stopped draining at one point, and all the beautiful catmint I had in there died out, so I'm going to have to redo it. There is a little green back there, but I'll probably have to put some more catmint in this pot. While so much of the garden is beautiful, I have already lost a lot of it, and those snails are still after my impatience. I'll have to redo this little pot. And my little zinnia seeds are not coming up in these little pots. I'll probably want to try again or put something else there. But the coleus is coming up in this pot, and it looks great. And while I finished one sister's movie, I haven't started the next movie yet. But it's definitely still in the plan. I just actually thought that maybe I could get my table and my footstool cleaned off, and some of the loose ends of my life that have been loose for so long, they're beginning to unravel. I guess every person that's been on YouTube or Facebook or any place else has those certain people that are telling them how good looking they are and stuff like that, and you wonder, well, what's up with this? Has this person ever even looked at anything that I actually did or created? And where do they think they're going with this? And do they really think that women are still, that's all they think about them? I thought we had moved on from there a little bit, but but I like a compliment as much as anyone else. I do like a compliment. So if you've given me one, I thank you for it. But just please know that I'm on here for something more than that. I'm married. I've been happily married, and I've also gone through all the horrible struggles that marriages sometimes go through. So, I think I've moved past that, and I think probably most people should move past that. But okay, this is not going to be the happiest post I've ever done. Evidently, I didn't start it out to be that way. But I thank you for your compliment. But really, I want this to be about my creativity, my purpose that God has for me, and to share something beautiful with you. Oh, look at this. I think I'm going to maybe get something beautiful. I think that little couple that raised 3 children out here, 3 baby birds, are back just playing around. Oh, I'm so happy they can play again and be happy. The female's out here too, which I'm not getting her right now, but she's around not too far away because I've seen her. But this is too good to pass up, even though it's a little shaky because of course I'm using the telescopic lens and it's too far away. You know, our little cardinals were the ones that lost all 3 of their babies to a big old black snake. They were just beginning to be old enough to start to fly on their own. They hadn't yet, as far as I had seen them, but I know they were fixing to, and then they were gone. But I think that possibly love is going through all that, those struggles, and coming out the other side. Whether you come out together, whether you come out with a stronger marriage, or whether you realize that it's not going to work, and as much as you want it to and try to make it work, it's not going to. It takes 2. I used to hear that it takes 2 people to make a divorce as well as a marriage, but honestly, if one person does not want to get a divorce and the other person does, you'll be divorced. And even if you are, there's something else out there, something better. I believe that. I just have to believe that. I think there's a God who loves us and wants us to have someone in our life, and I'm thankful for the people in my life. Look, I'm just noticing that my little Picasso canna is about to bloom, beginning its bloom. Look at this little volunteer bouquet. I can't believe that all this many seeds came up and weren't the same exact color from the same flower from last year. But look, they all came up together, and they're almost all a different, they are all a different color, at least a different shade of the same color. And then right there above it, that beautiful huge bouquet of screaming orange lilies. And also, I was going to say, on that contrast from one good thing to one not so good thing, you know, I take that picture at the first and at the end when I'm ready for church, when I'm looking my best. But surely you can imagine what I look like out here working. If you've carried a hose around very far at all, you know you slap that thing all over you and have to get it out of the mud and into a better position and pull it a ways, and you just know, you're going to be filthy before very long. And I always come in, I cannot tell what is water and what is sweat because I am just so covered in both. And right now I'm just walking around out here looking, and I am sweating, and it is so hot. A person my age should not even be out here probably, but here I am. But on the other hand, if you have a beautiful garden, what's the point if you don't get to enjoy it some? And I'm looking here at this purslane moss that I actually got up once, and here it is trying to come back from little seed from another time. I have to get out here soon and get this up, because you would not believe how fast one of these little ones can become bigger and bigger and bigger and just keep on going. I just love to see things filling out, changing from a tiny little thing to a bigger, more beautiful plant. I feel that we are so lucky in Oklahoma to have such a long gardening season, but on the other hand, most of it is scorching hot. And when it begins to get cool, we oftentimes, most times, have early frost. And yes, I lost my little petunia. That was the most beautiful thing, or that brought all this together to show you how beautiful it was. It's gone. But at least we still have this pretty little purslane moss to enjoy. And of course this is really purslane moss, the flower, whereas that I was talking about earlier that's over under my pear tree is actually a purslane moss weed. It does not get a pretty bloom at all. It simply gets a little nubbin that has bukus of seeds. Look at this beautiful strawberry drop coleus. Can you remember when it was just the tiniest little thing that I brought from inside the house? And now it's just coming into its own. It looks like I purchased it just this year, and it's beautiful. But did they all make it? No, they did not. And when I get my hoses to finally water this little pyramid where I had petunias, and I hope they'll still come, but they just don't look, they look so scraggly and awful. They could still make it, but they may not do much more than this all season too. But once I finally get it to where it's working, guess what? It's also streaming down my pathway. There seems to be no end sometimes. I know Murphy's Law, but if he hadn't came up with that, I'm pretty sure someone that's not even any smarter than me could have came up with that just from experience. So now I'm really not able to see what I'm trying to show you because sweat has dripped so much in my eyes that I can't. So I think I probably should go on. I don't know if I should be proud of this post or if I should apologize for it, but that's the way life is. That's just the way life is. There's probably just as many bad times as there is good times, but just like all the other things in our life, if I hadn't came out today, I wouldn't have that picture of that red cardinal taking a bath. How precious is that? I woke up this morning with my fan blowing on me as well as the air conditioner on, and thought how wonderful it would be just to lie there and enjoy the day all morning long. Of course I didn't do that. I had too much to do. I had to get up and get going. But I remembered when I was a kid and we did not even have a fan, no air conditioning whatsoever. And my dad would say, let's go into the fields and work. We might as well, at least if a little gust of wind comes by, we'll get it. We're certainly not going to get it sitting in the house. And I said, dear Lord, I am so spoiled. Thank you for spoiling me. And I also asked the Lord, well, I guess I first asked him to keep spoiling me, but then I said, please let me at least always be grateful. I transplanted some of my Siberian and Japanese iris from my water garden here into this little bog garden, but they died. But on the good side, you know, I told you that I put on that pretty little yellow mum in the pots and they died out. Well, I didn't. I did put some of it in the ground and it made it. So that's wonderful. And now that I look at the foliage on this, I'm thinking, no, this is not a mum. This is probably a type of a daisy. I somehow seem to manage to get out here and see some of the things that need to be done, but then I can't handle staying in the heat long enough to get it done. But our forecast is showing a little drop in temperatures for about 3 days, which sounds wonderful right now. The beautiful sugar shack buttonbush are putting on some. Most of them are already gone away, but look how pretty they are when they're fresh. These, of course, they're already spent. Some of the yarrow is still blooming, and the tall phlox are beginning their pretty blooms for the summer. But of course, some of my yarrow is needing to be clipped back so it can freshen up. Like this little foliage right here definitely needs out of there. But we'll get to enjoy the tall phlox for quite a while, almost up until fall. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.